Good
Perfect.
evening, Victor. How are you?
Good evening. How's it going? I'm good. And yourself?
Very well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us and making time in the evening. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Stoked to be here.
Let me start introducing you to our audience and highlight a few of your accomplishments. And so you are a professional wakeboarder on the tour since 2014. Currently training in Thailand, but originally from Belgium. And in 2019, you have been on the podium 14 times, which is pretty impressive. Um, so we want to learn a lot more today about what motivates you, what made you start wakeboarding, and how you use the sport to travel the world. And yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before we get started, I also want to mention your experience store that is on the SPRTER app. So anyone who is interested in booking an experience with Victor, whether it's a one-on-one training session, a virtual training session, or is interested in some business opportunities with him as well, join the SPRTER app and follow his profile there, as you can follow him along as he shares awesome content. And yeah, book some experiences with him over there. With that, no further ado, let's get started. How did you start wakeboarding?
So I've been living in Thailand for about 18 years now. So I started in Thailand.
Okay.
And both my parents were on business trips, so I was staying at my friend's place. And one of my friends would occasionally go to the wake park on the weekends, and I always thought it was kind of interesting. Because I was always into skateboarding and like board sports and all that. So when I was staying at his place one weekend, he offered to go, and I was like, yeah, let's go. And then since that day, like straight away fell in love with it, called both my parents. I was like, when you're back, I want to go back to the wake park. I need to go back. And then they came back a few days after, and then boom, like every weekend. And then from every weekend, it went to like almost every day after school to every day.
I mean, that this sounds like a pretty good time. How did you then realize from, hey, I'm having a lot of fun, to, hey, I'm actually really good at this?
I think I think it was a year and a half in. I joined, it was called the Asian Wake Park Tour. So they used to do this tour at every wake park in Asia. It was in Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and so they had to stop at Thai Wake Park, which is my home park here in Thailand. And so I did it just for fun, not really expecting anything. And I joined the under 13s category because I was 11 at the time. And
Okay.
then I won. And then when you would win one stop, you would then get invited automatically to the next stop. And then so I went to the next stop, won there as well. And then everyone was saying like, oh, you should get out of the under 13s category and go in the intermediate category, which was like mixed ages, but like it was 2 categories under pro. And I was like, okay, like I won the last 2 in my age category, so I might as well move up. And then I got second place
Oh,
there.
wow.
So that's when I was kind of like, okay, like, maybe it's worth investing a bit more into this.
How do you balance that with school? As in, hey, I kind of want to go pro in wakeboarding, but I mean, if you're 11 years old, you're like, maybe hedge our bets here.
Yeah, like it was, so when I was young, like when I was like under 15, 16, yeah, when I was like under 15, there wasn't too many competitions. It was like, like I'd maybe miss in the whole school year, like 3 weeks of school to a month of school maximum. And so then it was pretty easy. And like with training, like I always finished school early. I lived near the wake park, so it was easy to after school go to the wake park. And the school was always very supportive. Like when I was traveling, I'd always get my work done before, afterwards. So they're always very supportive with everything. It started to get a little harder when I was like 16 and above, and I had like pro contracts with my sponsors, and I would be missing like 3-4 months of school at a time. Because then, and that's also when school became a lot harder, because when you're 13, there's nothing actually happening in school. But then when you're like 17, 18, then it's like actually gets important. So that's when it became a little bit harder. But I mean, I got super lucky with all the teachers I had, and the school I was in, like they were very supportive with everything. they always gave me my time I needed with the work, and then when I was back from my trips, they always helped me catch up. So it was a little hard, but at the same time, like, because they were very supportive, it made it really easy.
That's amazing. When you are 16 years old and you have professional contracts with sponsors, and your friends, they're just call it regular 16-year-olds. Like, how's that? What is the difference? And how was there jealousy? Was there support, or a little bit of both? And how did that play out back then?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really see myself as like all that. I was just having fun on my wakeboard. And like, you know, I felt super lucky to get to travel the world with like my friends that I was training with. And I don't know, in school, like I didn't like, I had a lot of friends in school, but it wasn't like my close friends, because I would always be at the wake park. So on the weekends, never really spend time with anyone from school and all that. So my like real homies were like everyone from the wake park. But I mean, in school, there was never any jealousy or anything. It was always like everyone was super cool. And I never, I don't know, felt like I was all that just because I was just having fun.
That's awesome. We do have a segment that we call Poll Booth. We do quick fire questions just for you to get to know you a little bit better as well. So
Okay.
short answers to quick fire round. So in the poll booth, I'm asking you, beach or city break?
What does that mean?
Well, if you go on a break, you know,
Oh,
vacation, holiday, beach or city?
definitely beach.
Burger or pizza?
That's a hard one. Right now, burger.
Okay. Flip or grab?
Flip.
Wake up early or sleep in?
Wake up early. I hate sleep.
Cardio or weightlifting?
None.
A movie or a show?
A movie for sure.
Night out or night in?
Night out.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Rock or hip hop?
Rock, definitely.
All right. Belgium or Thailand?
Thailand, 100%.
All right, that concludes the poll booth. Very quick, and I want to follow up. As in someone who grew up in Belgium but has been living in Thailand for such a long time, and traveling and being and competing in Southeast Asia, you said that the tour was in different countries. How is it different, as we have a very international audience here, a lot based in the US, a lot based in Australia, Europe, but very few based in the Southeast Asia region. So can you tell me a little bit more about the competition in the different countries and how the countries differ?
So in Asia, I started off competing only in Asia. For like my first 4 years of competing was all in Asia. And then the first time I competed out of Asia was, I think, in Abu Dhabi. Or no, sorry. Was in Belgium. First time I competed out of Belgium was out of Asia was in Belgium. And that was after 4 years of competing when I was like 15, 16. That was the first time I did a whole Europe tour, because in Asia back then, most of the competitions were not like really a high pro level. It was a lot of like intermediate riders and riders that were getting there. We had a few pros, but most of the people would compete in the States or in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I felt like when I turned 16 and I kind of got to that level, and I had the budget from my sponsors and my parents' help, of course, as well. That's when I was like, okay, I'll go for my first Europe trip. And then I went to Europe for 6 months and did the whole tour. Ended up going super well. And then from there, did Europe and America the year after. And then kind of stopped doing the whole Asian wake park tour and everything in Asia. Because I don't know, a lot of wake parks stopped doing it, which sucks. Like, I wish they brought back all the Asian competitions because I miss those.
Mm-hmm.
But then, I don't know, I didn't really want to ride in those as much as the ones that were happening in Europe and America, and the dates would always clash, so I decided to go there.
So you've outgrown the Asian tour at that point, and then outgrown it in a way, as in, hey, if the competition was just much stronger and your sponsors wanted you to compete in the higher level competitions at that point.
And the money is a lot better, and all my friends were going there as well.
Okay. Now, when we're talking professional wakeboarding, obviously I don't want numbers, and I'm sure it's not a Roger Federer tennis
Oh,
salary, but how has it developed over the last 10 years? Because I know a lot of a lot of pros, a lot of sports are professionalizing more and more, and surfing the prize money has increased significantly, and we see with snowboarding, the X Games, etc. How's wakeboarding? How's that
it's
developing?
increased slowly increasing over time. It's not, I think, at all where it should be. I think it's actually, like, I feel like most wakeboarders are very underpaid for everything they're doing, like putting their bodies on the line. But it's definitely increasing over time, and I feel like with certain competitions, like Red Bull's been pulling off in fees, where they have like insane wakeboard setups in the middle of big European cities. I feel like that's what's bringing it to where it should be, and hopefully, if like Red Bull and bigger companies like that keep doing that, then we'll get to that stage sooner than later.
So it's developing in that, using it as well as an entertainment and spectacle, which it's amazing. It's an amazing sport, but
Because
it's
I feel
also sorry, you go.
like all these wake parks are, a lot of them are in the middle of nowhere, and then when you do all these competitions at a wake park, the only people that really come to spectate are the parents, the girlfriends, and the people who wakeboard. But when you put like a crazy wakeboard setup in the middle of a city, for example, the Red Bull Wake the City in Italy, which was in Milan, in the center of Milan, and they had an insane wakeboard setup. When you do things like that, that's when you bring everyone who has no idea what this sport is. Like, you just bring it to them. They don't have to go anywhere. And that's what I think is we need more of to grow the sport.
And you said that it's driven by the sponsors such as Red Bull and the bigger companies that are pushing into the sport, right?
Exactly.
And that's pretty amazing how we see the commercial part of the sport really driving the growth of the sport in a way. But it's such a cool sport and it has so much potential. I love it. I actually wakeboarded myself and
But
did one competition, but
no way.
obviously didn't do so well.
Where's wakeboard?
um, in the US, I competed for a college at Mizzou, one of the
Okay.
universities over here, 2007. Good fun, but yeah, definitely the water hurts a lot more than you'd think it does.
Right. That's so all my friends that skate and all that, they're all like, "Oh, try that. You're on water. It doesn't hurt, but it fucking hurts, man."
It hurts. It hurts
And
so bad when you.
oh, there's so much more plastic and metal on the water than there's actually water. So,
Yeah, no, I've seen you recently shared one of those compilations where you're like, well, not everything goes well.
oh
And
yeah,
those are the ones, I think drive a lot of engagement as well, right? When you share
yeah.
things that are,
Oh,
hey,
fail videos work so much better than win videos.
well, the wins are the ones that we like to see, but then the fails are the ones like, hell yeah, this is not even a professional, right? At your level competing, there's still a lot of fails till you get there. So when you train, like what's it like, the regimen to get to a new trick?
I've always been the kind of person that I'll only really try something when I feel it. And a lot of the stuff is like based on feeling. Like, I have all these tricks in my head that I want to do. And there's so many times that I go in and I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this today. But inside I'm like not feeling it at all. And I'll go and it just won't work out at all. I'll get hurt or it just doesn't work. But then there's like other days when I'm just on the water. I'm like, oh, today, like a trick I've had in my head for like 6 months and I'm like really feeling it. And then I go and it works out. But whenever people were like, oh, you should try this or that. And I always thought it was cool, but maybe I didn't feel it, and when I didn't feel it, it just never worked out for me.
Okay, so where do you get your inspiration of? But first of all, congrats on landing it. What is it? Do you have a name for it?
Oh, this is just in general.
Oh, okay. I thought you landed one today. I'm like, wow, that's awesome.
I got a new trick today. I don't know what it's called. It was just a combo on the last transfer we have at Thai Wake Park. But yeah.
We call it a Salmon from now on.
Yeah, let's just call it the Salmon.
That's awesome. Now, where do you get your inspiration from for new tricks?
Definitely from other wakeboarders. Like, there's a couple guys right now who I can just think of, like Graham Burries. I just saw his name in the viewers. I definitely get a lot of inspiration from him. He's so creative. Felix Georgi, like those two guys, are just guys I'll see them post stuff on Instagram. Like, I'm like, that's a crazy idea. Then like off snowboarding and skateboarding a lot. I watch a lot of snowboard and skateboard edits, and some of the stuff they're doing nowadays is insane. And to see that, I just sometimes, like, you know, I see a trick, especially with snowboarding, I'll see stuff they're doing and I'm like, damn, like this would be so cool on that obstacle, and then I'll just try bring it into the wake park.
So you're matching your tricks with the obstacle as well, and hey, this is this type of obstacle. I can do this trick. This is gonna look better here, etc.
Exactly. Or like I'll take a part of their trick they did there and with like a more wakeboardy trick.
That's interesting. It makes a lot of sense, as in, hey, I need to be somewhat strategic in here, and that's the pro coming out, as in, like, hey, I know what to do. Now, do you sit down, sketch it out, the perfect run, so to speak?
In a way, I mean, it's more in my head at night when I'm in bed. Like I would have just watched like a bunch of wakeboard videos or snowboard videos before going to bed, and then I'm like, oh damn, that would be so sick there. And then before falling asleep, I'm just imagining it, and then the next day, like I wake up and the first thing I want to do is go to the wake park and actually try it out and see if it works out or not.
That's really cool. Now, when you mentioned earlier you competed in Abu Dhabi, you went to Belgium, you went to, what's your number one wake park, or what's your favorite wake park outside of your home wake park? You can't,
Out
that's
of my
too
home.
easy. Outside of your home, yeah.
That's a hard one. I mean, I'd say maybe CWC, CWC and
CWC.
or Liquid Leisure in London.
Okay, okay. What makes it so special?
CWC is just an insane complex. They have one huge wake park with insane obstacles. Then they have 4 or 5 pool gaps, all different size drops. And it's just an amazing complex. They like to film video parts to train. They have everything you need there. So it's just amazing. And then Liquid Leisure in London, they pretty much have every single wakeboard obstacle there is. Like the owner is crazy. He bought every single unit obstacle there was, pretty much. Like they're all the best obstacles are there, and they always hack it up and keep it fresh. So every year when I go there for plastic playgrounds, I'm always like, damn, they killed it
Plus,
with.
plastic playground sounds interesting in terms of your, yeah, and just in terms of when you said earlier, there's more plastic in the water than water, as in we're now
Exactly.
adding all of it. It started out, well, yeah, weight behind the boat, but now it's really so much obstacle runs and all of the different sliders and kickers, and it has evolved so much in a way. And you wake skate as well?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, going back to what you just said about how it evolved, I remember when I first started wakeboarding, um, here at Thai Wake Park, which now is full of obstacles, they had like 3 obstacles in the lake 10 years ago, and now they've got almost 20. Like, and every wake park is like this. Like, I remember first traveling and there being like 4 obstacles, and if a cable had 5 or 6, they were like, damn, what is this place? And now it's like, if a wake park doesn't at least have like 15 obstacles in the water, then it's like, this place is whack. Like,
We're moving on. Nice. Now, wakeboarding has brought you around the world, right? Can you talk a little bit more about the life on the tour, so to speak?
um, it's so much fun. It's pretty much you take the plane on a Monday, you arrive. So if you're in Europe, let's say you take the plane on a Monday from Germany to Spain. You get there, you get picked up at the airport usually, or like over traveling so much and having people come to Thai Wake Park in the winter. I've met a lot of people around the world, so I'll usually either, if the contest sorts it out, then someone from the contest picks you up, or if I have friends there, they'll pick me up straight to the wake park. And it's pretty much every week, like if you went to summer camp in a way, you know, you get there to the wake park, all your friends are there that you haven't seen in weeks or months or years. Um, then throughout the week, it's like a lot of training for the competition, getting ready for the competition, a bit of exploring the city and all that, a little bit of partying. Then boom, 2 days of contest day on the weekend, crazy party afterwards, and then Monday back on the plane. Next stop, get to the wake park, hang out with everyone, train, party a little bit, explore a little bit, competition, and it's just like that for the whole summer.
And you go from one contest to the next contest, so to speak.
Exactly. And then in between, you have breaks where there's maybe like a 2 week break of no competition. And in that time, I'm usually just staying at friends' places, like seeing my friends around the world, or exploring a bit of Europe or America, or just training at a facility I like.
And that's very cool. And obviously, as you said, you having the wake part in Thailand, and Thailand is a pretty nice travel destination.
Exactly.
Which part of Thailand are you based in?
In Bangkok.
Bangkok, okay. Yeah, lovely city. I don't know if
Amazing.
lovely is describing it, but awesome city, really amazing city.
I've been here
And
my whole life pretty much, and I could see myself being here for the rest of my life, honestly.
I understand. It's so much fun. I've traveled through Bangkok and Phuket and the Chiang Mai and all of the islands down, and so I love Thailand. It's such a beautiful country, such nice people,
Exactly.
amazing weather. So I guess you can train year round, and having that as your home base, it makes a lot of sense that you have a lot of European friends. When it's European winter, they come and visit over, and they stay at yours, you crash theirs in the summer, and so on. Is that how it goes?
Exactly. I remember because of COVID, not so many people are flying over here, but I mean, we still have a few people that make it. But the year before COVID, like 8 people staying over at my house. It was a mess. It was so much fun.
And that's really interesting. Now, how has COVID really impacted the wakeboard community, the training, etc.? And how is it now?
So the first year of COVID, it hit it really hard. Everything was canceled. What was cool though is a lot of competitions ended up doing online competitions where it was like a best video part. So instead of traveling to the place and doing the real competition, you would have a month or so to film a video part, and then you would then release it, and then from there would be judges, or like the people who on the live stream watch the video would then vote for the best video. And so they kept it alive. They kept the sport alive and the contest scene alive by doing all these video contests. And then last summer was when they started redoing all the real contests. So I got to travel a bit around Europe, but there still wasn't as many contests as there used to be before. This summer, though, they pretty much every contest has announced that it's going to be happening. So hopefully we get a real contest season this summer.
And that's really, I mean, first of all, it's awesome that we're back this summer, but then bridging it through the video contest, that's a genius idea. It makes so much sense for a sport where you don't need the other person to actually compete, right? Like whether it's fencing or rowing or all of those, you need someone else. But with wakeboarding, you have so many awesome tricks, and it's really the video or the trick itself that gets judged. It makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And so many riders film their whole winter, their whole summer working on a video part, and to now be able to release that in a competition and get to win with that video part that you would usually just release like for pleasure was even better.
Now, did it get to a point where, hey, I'm a better videographer, therefore I won, as in the editing of the video or those effects, or were there some specific requirements? It's got to be like film on your phone and make it really bland.
Well, it was always they always had different, what's the word, like specifications kind of, so it was always judged like a percentage was on the tricks and the actual wakeboarding, then another part was like how it was filmed and how it was editing. So it was always kind of 50-50 throughout that, throughout those 2 points. So if you didn't have a good videographer, a good editor, or you didn't know how to edit your video, then but you had crazy tricks, it would put you down a little bit, as for if you were great at editing but your tricks weren't up there. So I mean, the ones that won were always the ones that really, you know, put their all in the writing and also killed it with the filming and editing.
And is that something that you do personally? Do you have a professional editor, or like how do you get into that business side?
Well, I've been lucky to, like, over the years, meeting a lot of like amazing videographers and editors that are just so talented at what they do, and gotten to be pretty good friends with all of them. So I've always been able to rely on them. I'm horrible at editing my own things. Like for Instagram, I can edit my videos because I don't go too technical with them. But when it comes to editing a full part, I'm terrible at it. So I've always reached out to them, and like shout out to Stefan Vollert. He's done a lot of my video parts. Also Robin. They've both done a lot of videos, like filmed and edited a lot of videos for me that were just bangers, and I wouldn't have those video parts out without them for sure.
Fair enough. And honestly, I mean, you can only be pro in one thing. Let's be honest, right? Like you're a pro writer. That's like a pro writer, pro editor. It's like,
yeah, like
where you put your time and make matters.
Exactly, like the amount of time I'd have to spend behind my laptop trying to learn how to edit a video, I'd much rather spend it learning new tricks on my wakeboard.
And that's probably a much better investment on your time anyway, just from a business perspective as well, and obviously from a fun perspective, probably too. Yeah. Now this has been super interesting, really nice to learn so much more about you. I want to be cognizant of your time. But really, I mean, it's late in Thailand already. Thanks for making time in the evening for our listeners. And for anyone wanting to learn more, follow Victor on all of the socials. He's got a pretty banger YouTube channel as well. And
I'm coming. Well, I stopped making videos for a little while, but I'm coming back. I'm working.
Still pretty good videos on there. And check him out on the SPRTER app, where he's sharing awesome content and offering some pretty cool, unique experiences with him. So anyone wanting to get involved with learning, improving their wake or business opportunities, make sure to check him out on the SPRTER app. Download the app, follow him there, and follow him on all of the socials. And yeah, he's got some amazing content there, and follow along. I'm excited for the summer 22 to see what you're sharing, and good luck with the competition. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on the podcast. It was fun.
All right, likewise. Have a great day. Bye.
See you, man. Have a great day. Bye.